Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is a pretty good one in my opinion. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. If you do, leave a like on the video. And yeah, man, let's just get into it because it's a good one. So today's story time all takes place back in 2014. Now, obviously, around this time, I was still in school. I had not dropped out yet. And around this time, I was definitely not the best student, okay? I was getting detention a little bit more than I should have, and I was definitely skipping school a lot and skipping class, and that was leading to me getting detentions, and it was just like a never-ending cycle, essentially. And one day, I'm in school in 2014. I'm about halfway through the day. I'm in lunchtime, right? I'm at the cafeteria with my friends, hanging out at my table, eating my lunch, and I don't know why, but on this day, I was just like fed up. I didn't want to do anything. And I remember my one friend who was at my table with me, we'll just call him Cody. Cody was like my dedicated homie that would skip class with me. Like anytime I was skipping class, Cody was there with me usually. And yeah, I don't know why, but on this day, me and him were both just in a fed up, not in the mood to be there kind of mood. And I remember we're both sitting there at my lunch table and he looks at me and he's like, "Yo, you want to skip next period with me?" And I was like, "You read my fucking mind." Now, obviously, I gotta be Uncle Luna here and be like, "Yo, don't skip class. That's not good. Don't be like me." So yeah, don't be like me, guys. But yeah, on this day, me and my friend were like, "Fuck it, we're skipping." So when lunch let out, we went to the gym because we knew next period no one had gym. So we just hung out in the gym that whole next class period and just skipped our class. I believe I had math, so I skipped math, and Cody had study hall, which is kind of funny to me because it's like, why the hell are you skipping study hall? You already don't have to do anything in that class. It's literally just study hall. You just chill. But yeah, he didn't want to go for some reason. Maybe he didn't like his teacher. Maybe he didn't like the people there. I don't know. But yeah, I skipped math. He skipped study hall. We're hanging out in the gym. And I remember there wasn't really much to do. We were pretty bored. So we found this basketball out of the closet. And we were just trying to shoot as far away as we could and make a basket. And I ended up throwing it way too hard and way too far. And I hit the front door of the gym and it made a really loud bang sound, right? Where you press the handle to open the door. And someone in the hallway heard it. It was a teacher. And he swung open the gym door and he's like, "What are you guys doing in here? There's no gym right now." And I was like, "Oh, we're just practicing. We're on the basketball team." I completely fucking lied. And he's like, "There's no basketball practice either. Why aren't you in class?" And I was like, "We're practicing." And he's like, "Yeah, there's no practice right now. You're supposed to be in class. What classes are you guys supposed to be in?" And we both just went silent, me and Cody. And he goes, "All right, come with me." And me and Cody got escorted up to the principal's office. Now, upon arriving at the principal's office, we get sat down. And apparently on this day, my principal was out sick or something. So my vice principal came in and she was like, "What are you boys doing? Come on, how often do I have to see you guys? You guys are always up here, you're always talking to the principal, what's up with this?" And we're both just silent. And she goes, "What were you guys doing, skipping class?" And the teacher's in there with us, and he's like, "Yeah, they were skipping, they were in the gym, they were throwing basketballs, hitting the door, I don't want them to damage anything." And my vice principal's like, "All right, well, thanks for bringing them up, I'll handle it." So the teacher leaves, right? The teacher that caught us skipping and brought us up there, he leaves. And now it's just us and the vice principal. And the vice principal goes, "Listen, guys, you're getting detention 3 days in a row after school." And we're all like, "Ah, shit." So after we got detention, we had to go back to class and the detention started on that day. So on that day, we were going to have to stay after school and go to detention. And I remember as soon as we left the vice principal's office and we were walking out, I looked over at Cody and I was like, "I'm not going to detention today." And he's like, "Yeah, me neither." And that was the truth. I was not about to stay after for detention. Fuck no. I didn't care if they gave me more detention. I was not staying after on this day. I was fed up. Literally any other day I would have been down to stay after, but for some reason on this day I was just extra not in the mood. Obviously I should have stayed after. That would have been the right thing to do, but I was like, "No, I'm not doing it." So anyway, after this, we didn't have that much of the day left. There was only 2 or 3 periods. So we got through the rest of the school day, me and Cody, and we met back up after the bell rang to let out at my locker. So the school day was over, me and Cody are at my locker, and we both start walking down the hallway out of the school to the bus line, right? And right as we're about to get to the bus line, this other friend of ours comes up behind us. We'll call him Anthony. Anthony runs up behind us. He's like, "Yo guys, yo, you want to smoke with me?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "You want to smoke? I just got some weed." I was like, what do you mean you just got some weed? Like, the school day just ended. Where could you have possibly gotten weed from? And apparently one of our like mutual friends just gave him some for free. I don't know why. They just gave him like enough for like a dime, just like as a gift. So yeah, he wanted us to smoke with him. And we were like, why not? So yeah, we end up walking past the bus line and we decided that we're going to go into the woods behind the school and then smoke. And then after we got done smoking, we just hang out back there for like 45 minutes to an hour and then take the after school bus home. And that was going to be fine because we had detention anyway. So the after school bus could just take us home because the after school bus driver would be expecting us anyway. So yeah, we walk past the bus line, we go into the woods and we sit down. My friend had some papers with him. Don't know why he kept papers with him at school, but he did. And he started rolling up this weed. And we're sitting there, and I'm a little bit nervous, I can't lie. One, because I didn't want someone to like wander in these woods and catch us. And then two, I hadn't smoked in a little bit. It had been like a couple weeks, so my tolerance wasn't very high. And I was kind of like scared about how high I was about to get. And I'm not gonna lie, man, when it came time to smoke, I felt that shit a little too fast. I remember like after 2 hits, I was already feeling it heavy. And after the third and fourth, it was heavier. And I don't remember how many I took in total, but by the end of smoking this joint with my friends, I felt like uncomfortably stoned. It was like too much. And I remember after we got done smoking, Anthony looked at me and he's like, yo, your eyes are fucked. And I pulled up in my phone camera and I looked at myself in the camera and it was like scary how red they were. It looked like I had been crying for hours on end and I put sand in my eyes. I looked like that meme. It was not good, man. It was not good. But anyway, yeah, I was more than stoned. I was absolutely obliterated. My friends, they were pretty high, but not nearly as bad as me. And now we're just sitting there in the woods. And when I tell you I was paranoid, I was paranoid. I don't know why, but I thought that like at any given moment, a teacher was going to walk back here and catch us. But obviously that didn't happen because teachers aren't just roaming around the woods behind the school after hours. That's just not what teachers do. So we were fine. We didn't get caught in the woods. Anyway, after about 45 minutes, it was time to leave the woods and go back to the school where the after school bus would be parked and jump on the after school bus and go home. Now this part was a little bit tricky because sometimes teachers would be out by the after school bus and we didn't want to get seen by any because we literally skipped detention on this day. And if any of those teachers were outside that were doing detention on that day, saw us, they might be like, hey, why weren't you guys in detention? Like, where were you? And we didn't want to deal with that. So we approached the after-school bus line very, very slowly, made sure there was no one out there that would recognize us, and luckily there wasn't. There was only one person out there manning the bus line. It was the security guard. He stood out there pretty much every day, and he never said anything to anybody, so I assumed he wouldn't say anything to us. And I was right. We were able to just walk down the sidewalk right in front of him. We got on the bus, the after-school bus, and we waited for the school to let out all the people in detention and that were staying after to get on the after-school bus as well. We were the first people on it. We were a little early. I think we got on it like 5 minutes before the after-school bell would ring and let everyone out. So yeah, we're on that shit early. It's me, it's Anthony, it's Cody. We're sitting there. We're in the back. And about 5 minutes later, the bell rings. All the kids from detention and, after school get let out. And they're getting on the bus. And then all of a sudden, I see our vice principal walking out. I see her walking out right to the bus. And I'm looking at Cody and he's looking at me and he's like, yo, why is she coming to the bus? Like, what the fuck? Like, why is she coming here? And she proceeds to get on the bus and start talking to the bus driver. Not sure what about. I'm assuming she was like letting the bus driver know that there was still a student coming or something and not to leave yet. I don't know, right? Like she was talking to the bus driver about something. Meanwhile, me and Cody are trying to crouch down behind the seat and not get seen. But I guess Cody wasn't like ducking hard enough and she saw him. And she goes, Cody, is that you? And he puts his head up and he's like, oh, hey, yeah, what's up? And she goes, I checked detention. You weren't there. You and Austin weren't there. The teacher said you guys skipped. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I had a stomach problem. I was in the bathroom. And she's like, yeah, for an entire hour you were in the bathroom? What were you really doing? And she starts getting closer to him, walking down the aisle. And she still doesn't see me, by the way. And I'm just hoping she stops walking closer and closer because if she gets too close, she'll see me crouch behind the seat. But unfortunately, I wasn't very lucky. She walked all the way to the back of the bus to talk to Cody, and because she walked all the way to the back, she saw me crouch down. And she goes, oh, look, Austin's here too, hiding from me. And I look up and I was like, oh, hey. And she was like, yeah, hey. And I was like, what's up? And she goes, oh my, your eyes are so red. And now I'm freaking out inside, and I'm trying to come up with something to say. So I just go, yeah, like allergy season. It's a bitch. And she's like, allergy season, huh? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, yeah, you sure smell like allergies. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? And she's like, you know what I mean. You smell like weed. And she proceeds to take us off the bus, bring us inside, call our parents, tell them that we smell like weed and our eyes are red and that we didn't come to detention. And she also proceeded to suspend us for a day. We got 1 day of in-school suspension because we skipped detention. They didn't actually get us in trouble for the weed thing because they couldn't really prove we smoked. I know that our eyes are red and that we smelled like it, but no one had any weed on them. Like, we got searched, and obviously the weed was gone because we smoked it. But we still got in trouble for skipping detention, so we got 1 day of in-school suspension, and also we all got in trouble at home because our vice principal literally told all of our parents that we smelled like weed and had red eyes. So even though we didn't get like punished at school for smoking weed, we got punished at home. I got grounded for 2 months, got all my shit taken away, my PC, my Xbox, my TV, my phone. It was bad, man. It sucked. I was very bored for the next 2 months. And yeah, my mom was very upset with me. It was not fun. But that's pretty much into the story time. Moral of the story is, don't be like young Austin. Just learn from my mistakes. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
Take his 401k and I'll put it on my wrist. Only wanna sell my fit. Stay